Peace, y'all. This is A Sharp, and you're tuned into Heritage Hip Hop.
Man, I fight through sniffles, colds, and everything to bring y'all the best when it comes to Jersey hip hop and world-class music. You see that thing over his left shoulder, the right on your screen? You should know who that is. Introduce yourself to the people.
Peace, everybody. This is A Sharp, producer, DJ, repping Jersey, Newark, Brick City. You can catch me on Twitter, ASharp79, IG, ASharp79, and you know, ready to do this interview. Heritage Hip Hop.
And more importantly, we gotta get you to catch them, have them catch you on their radio.
Yes,
their
yes,
their
yes.
phone.
A Squad Rebel Radio.
So,
tune in every Monday night, 8 to 10.
That's right. So let's talk about it and let's get into it.
Okay.
Who is A Sharp and how did hip hop catch his ear?
Oh, A Sharp is a producer, DJ from Jersey. You know, he's a very eclectic type of hip hop dude. He likes all different types of genres of music. Hip hop caught his ear probably in the late 80s, around 88. You know, just listen to like a lot of music, you know what I mean, hip hop at the time, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, stuff like that. You know, caught a Rakim record, and that was it. I fell in love. So I'd say around like 88 is when it came full force, and I was in love.
So hip hop at that time was about 10 years old.
Yes.
So to speak. Because a lot of people argue that hip hop actually came out before 78 and all that.
Right.
But when hip hop really hit the doorsteps of people across the country from vinyl, that's when a lot of people's imaginations took shape. See, in 1989, my first hip hop record I remember was It Takes Two, followed by the Pee Wee Herman Dance, followed by My Uzi Weighs a Ton. So that's 3 different types of beats all at one time, and that's what made hip hop dope.
Right.
Because it was hip hop, but you couldn't define it yet.
Right.
Where do you see the fall of hip hop when people try to define it and put it in a box?
Oh. Maybe I would say, I don't know, maybe in the mid to late 90s when we started, you know, a sound was more developed, and you know, it became more of a genre, so to speak, hip hop, and you know, that's what it was, you know, hip hop. Oh, the new hip hop. This the new hip hop, R&B and hip hop. You know what I mean? Everything was that. So I guess around that time, from like 95 to 96 and then on, you know, of course, we have hip hop in the box.
So let's go a little bit before that, because you catch my attention not as a hip hop producer though. I think you're an appreciation of music.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
and I can tell by the music that you make. So back in the day, there's a famous story about how Eric B wanted to be the Steve Stout of music, but they kept cutting his feet up from under him. And when he did Friends with Jody Watley and Rakim, he was trying to usher in that new sound, the fusion of R&B and hip hop. Let's talk about hip hop back in those days when hip hop was hip hop and R&B was distinctive. Because I don't believe R&B exists anymore because everybody was singing like rappers.
Right. Yeah.
So in that early time, how did the sound catch you when everything was either bass heavy or horn driven?
I would say when things were kind of horn driven, you know what I mean? It was more of like I don't know, just kind of like a different kind of sound. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of R&B that was sounding very similar to that. You know what I mean? And yeah, man. That's a good question, man. It's one of them things, man, because you had a lot of different artists doing almost the same kind of thing too. You know what I mean? Trying to copy off each other and exactly like today. So, you know, that bass-driven, horn-driven type of sound, you know, everyone was trying to mimic it. Everyone kind of like wanted it, you know, like you had to have that one sound, that one song that had that, you know. But yeah, man, that's a good time in hip hop right there.
When you look at hip hop from, like I said, I'm trying to keep it back in that perspective.
Yeah.
Up to 95.
Yeah.
When you look at hip hop at that time, hip hop was in its infancy still, not even a teenager yet. So when we break down the development of a child, we break down the child development in the stages of 5. 0 to 5, they're new. 5 to 10, they're more experienced with the world. 10 to 15, they question their place. 15 to 20, they start to think about the world. 20 to 25, you start thinking about your place in the world. 25 to 30, you make your mark. 30 to the rest of your life, you're off on your dreams, goals, aspirations, and your legacy.
Yes.
So hip hop is kind of going towards a legacy form almost right now. But in that time of infancy, hip hop, just like a baby, is trying to find its identity by being brand new. So I ask you, at that time, we're talking about the late 80s, early 90s, everybody was coming out with classic music at the time. Let's go between the genres. Between 88 to 80, no, let's go 88 to 93. From 88 to 93, on the R&B side, Michael Jackson was fresh. Anita Baker was fresh. You had 2020 Tony.
Yes.
I mean, and those was like classic songs. Luther Vandross, Freddie Jackson.
Yeah.
Then when you go into the hip hop realm, 88 on Beastie Boys, or Def Jam ran it, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys. You had Ice-T for those who were deep into the West Coast flavor at the time. Yeah. But then even down south, you had booty bass music, Two Live Crew. And if you were really, really deep into hip hop at that time, the South were taking North sounds, but putting North MCs and rap styles, but putting live instrumentation in their beats. So in the infancy of hip hop, people gravitated towards those sounds because they wanted to get heard. How did that lead hip hop to you into that next era of people not wanting to be like everyone, but to be heard and yet stand out?
To be like that and to stand out, you know, just start using different, like you said, they were using different sounds. So in essence with that, different sounds are going to lead to a different style. So it's kind of like live instrumentation definitely brings you there. You know, sampling, that type of instrumentation, you know, that'll it depends on how you do it. You know what I mean? Because you can do it in the old format, and it's like, okay, you know, kind of predictable. Like we get, like, you know, you chopped up a sample, but when you take it and you kind of like manipulate it a little bit, you know, you get like a different sound. So I think that is everything. Just kind of like seeing what you can come up with. You know what I mean? And really pushing the envelope on a lot of.
Your fans are calling you.
Pushing the envelope on sounds, you know what I mean? Just don't get comfortable with saying, you know, it's good. You know what I mean? Keep pushing and seeing what you can come up with, because end of the day, it's all about new. So
then I'm gonna ask you one of the hardest questions a music lover of hip hop has to answer.
Okay. Who's
the real godfather of hip hop from the 80s to the early 90s? Is it James Brown or is it Bob James?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm gonna have to say, oof. Maybe James Brown, because so many people sampled James Brown, and it was kind of like a staple to have that James Brown sound, you know what I mean? To where sampling Bob James was when you're kind of getting a little more eclectic, like, you know what I mean? You wanted to step outside the box a little bit and, you know, do something different, you know what I mean? Which I think was the later 90s. We started getting into records like that and sampling abstract like that, but you know.
So let's take it back, because Peter Piper from Run DMC is Bob James. That's the novelist.
It's Bob James, yeah.
Right? No. Is that the novelist?
Yes.
No, that's Take Me to Mardi Gras.
Bob James, Take Me to Mardi.
Take Me to
Okay.
Mardi Gras. And yeah, I study music.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So, in my estimation of what hip hop was, sticking in that era, Bob James. No, let's forget Bob James for a second. James Brown is the beginning of hip hop music
Absolutely.
because he embodied everything hip hop was before hip hop was even grafted a name. He had his own label. He had his own band. He put out his own artists.
Yeah.
And tell me who didn't sell, who came out of James Brown. Whether it was the JBs, Lynn Collins,
Yeah.
He is the originator of hip hop. So when hip hop was first starting to take shape, with Funky Beat and Bewildered, even was the and people was trying to go there with it. Even when you look at hip hop classics like Pass the Peas, you know what I'm saying? Like people were sampling James Brown from the beginning. But in the 80s, the thing that marked hip hop, besides funky bass drums, because the drums are always most important, was the heightening of bass. What does bass do to music that makes it so catchy from a producer standpoint?
It's what makes you move. You know what I mean? It's that low end. You know what I mean? You don't forget that low end in a song, and just those frequencies. You know what I mean? They sit with you. You know, and so man, when there's good low end, it's in there. You know what I mean? You base it off of that. Like, yo, this shit sounds dope in the system. You know what I mean?
So then define that part when it comes to Southern music. Because I mean, when you look at when I think about bass, I'm thinking about Rakim. It's been a long time. You know,
yeah. That's bass.
But then when you go to like DJ Nasty Rock,
yeah, exactly. There's levels of bass. There's definitely levels of bass within hip hop and the different hip hop genres that are around today. But the South definitely. The Miami southern sound, bass sound is notorious.
To me, my definition, New York and upper East Coast bass is for head nodding.
That shaking. No doubt.
But that's lost because even in today's music, the bass is not as hard. It's there.
It's not as hard as it. Yeah.
Why do you think people have gone to that part of the music spectrum?
Just simplicity. Simplicity with everything that we have going on today within music. I just feel like it's just get it out. You know what I mean? And you'll have your songs that have that low end in it, not like how it was. But I just feel like everything is like a booty shaker. Everything is talking about this and that. So it's just kind of like, yeah, they have it, but they don't know the real sound and the essence of it. You know what I mean?
So they keep it simple, stupid.
Just keep it simple, stupid.
And they have been victim of the kiss of death.
Yes.
So this sucks.
Yes.